When I say reproductive health, people say, what is that? Then I say, well, that's an umbrella term that covers a lot of topics. And in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you a sampling of what those topics are. You may have heard it called human sexuality or sexuality education or the dreaded sex ed. But whatever you call it, it is often met with judgment. But reproductive health is much bigger than that. It covers topics like gender identity, sexual identity, puberty and adolescence, sexuality over a lifetime, you know, cradle to grave stuff or womb to tomb. It also covers other things like contraception, sexually transmitted infections. Oh yeah, we call them STIs now, not STDs. And it covers sexual taboos, because after all, 50 Shades of Grey is hard to ignore. It's much deeper than telling our youth to say no to sex. Our kids need more in their toolbox than abstinence. Abstinence is a worthy goal, but it's not always attainable. And that's why we need to give more. And this is where reproductive health comes in. Reproductive health is a trinity of life. It's the biology, the psychology, and the sociology of sexuality. And when we talk about these topics, we start with biology. So when we look at biology, we have to use correct terminology. For instance, if a penis is a pee-pee, then an eye is a blink-blink. And we know that that is not accurate. We're also going to talk about things like conception, pregnancy, childbirth, and all the things that affect us after that. You know, like 2 a.m. feedings. I get tired just thinking about it. We also have to look at sexuality with respect to psychology. And this is where the mind and the body shake hands. We're going to look at behavior and attitudes, and we're going to discuss love and relationships. And we're going to ask that question, what makes a good relationship? We're also going to look at sexual minorities. What's a sexual minority? Well, if it isn't heterosexual, it's a minority. And we need to discuss this so we can get rid of that heterosexual bias in the United States. We also have to look at sexuality and aging. Yep, old people are sexual too. I know, who knew? But they are. And we need to address that. And, you know, it's true. Youth is wasted on the young. Sociologically speaking, we have to address things that are uncomfortable. Harassment, aggression, abuse. We have to discuss that. Why? So we can stop the cycle. And then we need to talk about other things too, like pornography. Child pornography, not okay. Prostitution, commercial sex workers should be safe. And human trafficking, not the same as prostitution. So you might be thinking, so what? Well, here's what. Our youth make up 25% of the sexually active population, but they bring 50% of the diseases to the table. And it's not their fault. We don't give them any information. Our pregnancy rate and abortion rate is higher than European nations, and our pregnancy rate is much higher. Why is that? Because in European nations, they give reproductive health education to their youth K through 12. If we did that in the United States, our pregnancy rate would come down, our federal spending would come down, and we'd have more money in our pocket. I like that idea. I bet you do too. And we have to think about things with respect to reproductive health, with respect to our youth being inundated with misinformation every day. Movies, media, music. And yet there's very, very little accountability or reference to risk and responsibility. And this is a problem. So I hope you see by now that you would agree that not teaching this topic to our youth is like building a house on a foundation of sand. Not a very wise or stable thing to do. So what's going on in our backyard? Well, in Larimer County, suicide rate is equal to or greater than any county in Colorado. And bullying plays a really big part of that. Sexual minorities are bullied a lot, and they're bullied a lot more. So let's take this topic of reproductive health and take it out of the moral trough that it has somehow landed in and put it into the core curriculum where it belongs. Because after all, it's just the biology, psychology, and sociology of being. Thank you.